Welcome class to Chapter 1 of your Python Crash Course textbook. The chapter title is Getting Started. So this video lecture is not going to contain a traditional PowerPoint lecture, but we are going to cover the objectives of set up your programming environment, Python on different operating systems, and lastly we'll look at Python text editors. So let's begin by coming to python.org and installing Python. So we're going to click on Downloads, and you can see all the active Python releases as well as any specific release. We're going to not install the current release, which is 3.11, because there is a bug in it with regards to Pygame. And we're going to start using Pygame when we code in Chapter 4 our Alien Invasion game. So we're going to do a release prior to 3.11, such as 3.10, 3.10.9, or a 3.9.16. So let's go ahead and click on 3.10. Scrolling down to the bottom of this page, we'll get our executable files. The first couple are for Linux. The third one here is for Mac installation. And then these last ones here are for Windows. If you are in a Linux environment or a Mac environment, look for the specific steps inside your Chapter 1 in your textbook. I'm going to go ahead and click on Windows Installer 64-bit. In the installation window, make sure that you check on the checkbox that says add python.exe to path. This just makes sure that the system is configured correctly to work with Python when you're working with .py files. Next, click on the install now and go through the installation process. Next, we're going to make sure that our installation of Python was successful by coming to a terminal and typing in Python or Python 3. You'll get back a report of the version that's currently installed and then the Python prompt. So whenever you see these three symbols in your textbook, just note that the author is working inside of the Python prompt within the terminal. We could type in commands here such as a print statement, okay, and we get the output of what's between the quotation marks. Next, we're going to go ahead and look at installing an editor. Now, one suggestion for an editor is Visual Studio Code. So just do a Google search on VS Code and then click on the link for code.visualstudio.com. Download with regards to your operating system. Now, this is just one suggestion as an editor, and this is the one that I will be using for the duration of this course. Other editors that have been used in the past are Sublime Text, Geany. I've heard of students using PyCharm and many other types of editors as well. So once you have downloaded Visual Studio looks like this. The next step is to install the extension to work with VS Code. So click on your Manage icon in the bottom left corner, click on Extensions, and then type in Python. Choose the first one in the list for your Python extension. And then from there, we're going to talk about how we're going to organize our files. So I've created a Python_work file or folder on my desktop. Within there, I have chapter folders, and I even have an alien_invasion folder. So this is the structure that I would like you to set up. You don't have to use your desktop. Just make sure that you have a Python folder and that you are organizing your files within chapters, and with Alien Invasion within an Alien Invasion folder. So we're going to go ahead and open this folder now in Visual Studio. So I want you to go ahead and click on Open Folder either from the start or click on File and then Open Folder here as well, and then navigate to that Chapter 1 folder. We're going to create a new file now, and we're going to create it and we're going to call it hello_world. Okay, I want you to save it in that Chapter 1 folder. With all files, you want to make sure you put your name and your date at the top of your file, followed by a blank line, and then you will go ahead and start coding your statements. So in this case, we're going to do our example in chapter 1, Hello Python World. Okay, once we have done this, we'll go ahead and save it. Okay, make sure you save it in your chapter 1 folder. And then either from the run menu or from your play button, you can go ahead and run, and down in the bottom you'll see terminal, and you'll see the output just like we saw when we were in the terminal through the Python prompt. Next we'll look at our 3 lab assignments, but I'm going to actually talk about the second lab assignment first since we're currently working with Hello World. So Hello World typos. Open Hello World, the file we just created, make a typo somewhere in the line and run the program again. And then it says, can you make a typo that generates an error? Can you make sense of the error message? Can you make a typo that doesn't generate an error? And why do you think it didn't make an error? So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you take this line, I'm going to have you copy it and paste it. And then on this line, I'm going to have you not create an error. Okay, so you're going to make a change somewhere in this line that does not create an error. Okay, and then you're going to change this comment here to explain to me why you believe at this point with your knowledge why it didn't create the error. And then this line we're going to create an error. Okay, so make a change to the statement in some way and then explain to me through this comment right here as to why you believe that it created an error. Okay, so that's your Hello World or your 1-2 lab. Okay, 1-1 and 1-3 we're going to create either in a text editor or in a Word document. So 1-1 I've titled here, my file is 1-1 and 1-3.docx, and again you can use a text editor. So you're going to do at least 4 sentences for both of these labs. So what do they involve? Python.org. Okay, we're going to explore the python.org homepage, and I want you to find a topic that interests you. Okay, and then explain to me in those 4 sentences or more why that was of interest to you. So coming back to python.org, to the home page. Okay, some suggestions. Maybe you're a documentation person and you want to look at some documentation. Maybe it's community that you want to look at, success stories, maybe in education, maybe in software development, or maybe it's a news article that you want to look at, or maybe even a particular event. You can go ahead and click on any one of these two through the slideshow, and again 4 sentences for that. Okay, next 1-3, infinite skills. If you had infinite programming skills, what would you build? These are always very interesting for me to review. And so let me know what you would create if you had infinite programming skills. So that wraps up chapter 1. If you have any problems with the installation of Python, or VS Code, or getting helloworld.py to work the way that it needs to work, even in 1-2 with the typos, please reach out to me. Thank you.